Yo, what is up there, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie, also known as Driveway Built 460. If you guys have been following, this is our three-part series that we're working on. This is the last episode of our three-part series. We're going to be adding a transmission cooler to M's GX460. So we're adding this cooler to keep things nice and cool, keep the longevity of the transmission nice and happy. So if you are running 33s or bigger tires, this modification is a must do. Alright, so first step in this process, we're going to remove the battery tie down and also the battery itself. So we'll disconnect the terminals. This will help allow us to have access to the plumbing part towards the radiator and also the transmission. Let's remove this battery tray. This will give us more access to the hoses. With the battery out of the way, we can see what we're dealing with. This top hose here, this port, we're not touching this port whatsoever. It's the one that's right below this one here. And then let's see real quick what comes in the box and our Hayden transmission cooler. We have our new plumbing hose and then some connections and also looks like some straps. And then of course the cooler itself. I'll provide a link down below for the cooler along with the hardware and brackets and hose clamps that we used in this video. Okay, then let's see. We're just going to mock things up and see what it looks like. More than likely, we're going to relocate one of these horns, but this looks like it's going to be the spot. For the first bracket, we went ahead and removed the horn. It's just held on by a 10mm bolt. That comes right out, and we're going to place the bracket right here, and we'll put the horn back in its place. A lot of things we do, it's going to be a lot of DIYs. So we got the bracket that we purchased and we just bent the bracket to shape. And so a lot of things that we do, it's going to be on the budget side. We didn't feel it was necessary to purchase a mounting bracket specifically made for the coolers. We got brackets that we had, bent them, and this will work perfectly fine.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna use that one. Or
what's nice about these brackets and how we bent them to shape is we can actually adjust the cooler, whether it's going to be at the top position or at the lower positions. It's going to be very convenient to adjust and place the cooler where we need for it to be. With the top bracket figured out, we're working on now the bottom bracket to support the cooler. In the center of the vehicle, there's going to be a center piece of, there's going to be a center bracket. We're going to use this portion right here to support the cooler. Horn is back in its place. There's plenty of clearance for the horn to be at along with the bracket. So we have enough room to place the hardware to secure the cooler back in this location. All right, so horn secured, brackets fastened. Now it's time to install the cooler onto its location. So we're gonna just mount the hardware on top and work our way down to the bottom one over to the left side. All right, so cool. We got everything mounted. Everything is bolted on. And we take a look. There's plenty of clearance between the horn and the bumper itself. There's nothing that's going to obstruct it. And the cooler is nice and secured. So on to the next step, which is the plumbing part. All right, so we're gonna work on the top of the cooler. We're gonna grab our hose that was provided by Hayden and just stick it right into this port. And then after that, we're gonna grab the hose clamp and we're going to secure this hose on top of this portion of the cooler. Moving on to the bottom, same thing. Hose connects to the port and clamp, and then we'll use the band clamp to secure it in place. So for this next step, we are grabbing the transmission fluid and we're going to top off the external cooler with fluid.
Let me know when it starts emptying out into the bottom. Ah, shit. Starting to leak up on.
It's coming down.
It's full.
Yep. Cool, so transmission mounted and it's filled with transmission fluid. The next step, we are moving on to removing a hose that goes to the feed line to the radiator and the return line to the transmission. And I'll show you guys exactly what that looks like. So before we start plumbing everything up, this hose has to be removed first. Alright guys, so in this step, we are at the radiator and we're on the driver's side. So don't confuse this with the passenger side. We're only working on the driver's side. So if you take a look, there's going to be a upper port, which is facing down towards the ground. And there's one that's right below this one, and that one's facing up. We're going to work on this port that's facing up. At this point, we're just trying to separate the plastic clip or the band that's keeping both these hoses together. We're going to break this apart because, again, our goal is to remove that lower hose that's facing up. So we're going to just take care of this first. And after that, we're going to work on removing the lower section towards the transmission for the return line. Alright guys, so we are at the bottom of the vehicle. And if you take a look over to our left, the yellow drain plug is there. That's the radiator drain plug. So if you look forward, facing the driver's side again, and we're only working on the driver's side, there's two hard lines. There's one that's facing the passenger side and one facing the driver's side. We're only working on the driver's side. And that hose is just held on by a single clip. And once you remove that clip, we can slip that hose right off from the hard line. Now I believe once we remove this hose, we're gonna have some drippage of automatic transmission fluid. We're gonna lose some, but it's okay. We're gonna go back and fill it back up as best as we can after we take off this hose.
Yeah. Cool.
So we pulled the return line up and now we're gonna work on the feed line. It's just, again, just one clip that's holding on to this hose, and remove this clip and then we'll pop that hose right off from this port. Alright, so what we're gonna do is there's these little felt pads here. You can actually punch a hole through this. So we're gonna run the top hose through here, and then the bottom hose will feed in through here, because it's just basically there's just a hole back over here. See? So we're gonna feed that the top hose through here and bottom hose down over here. Let's see here. The top one's gonna be the feed line to the radiator, and then the bottom one's gonna go to the return line to the transmission. Push it back in. So we're starting off with the lower hose. This is gonna be, again, the return line to the transmission. And once again, it's the one that's towards the driver's side of the vehicle, not the passenger side. So we removed that hose from earlier. All we're doing now is just making our plumbing and connecting that hose into this spot. And then once we're done, we're gonna put that clip back into place. And we're gonna work on the top portion for the feed line back to the radiator. Okay, so if you guys recall from earlier, we opened up the hoses, the factory ones, and we spilled out some fluid. And so at this point, all we're doing is we're refilling the transmission back up with the lost fluid. This is gonna be approximate. This is not gonna be the exact amount, but we're doing our best to recover our losses. Okay, so we got the lower hose connected back onto the return line to the transmission, and we just connected on the upper hose to the feed line back into the radiator. So hose back in, we clamped it back on with some band clamps, and this is pretty much done. We're just double checking our work, making sure there's no leaks, and so far looks good. And this is pretty much a wrap, guys. After checking our hoses and clamps, this is the time now to put everything back in. So battery tray and battery terminals, we're going to connect all that, and that's going to finish up this install. So bumper is back on. We've done the transmission cooler, washer body relocation, and the brakes all done in this 3-part series. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. We've made some progress with this. Every single time when we work on our vehicles, it's always going to be a hit or miss depending on how long the job is going to take. And we've just been very fortunate that this install process for all 3 series has been smooth. I can safely say that was an easy task for all of us. I'm documenting this because I haven't done it before in the past. I figured M hasn't done it for his GX, and we're gonna knock that out and document this for the journalists so we can show you guys just how easy this is to get this done in your own garage with some basic hand tools. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video and this 3-part series. If you guys have suggestions on what I can do next, I'll do my best to incorporate that. But until then, guys, I will see you guys on the next adventure or next upgrade. Peace out, guys.